My speech today is to give to you an idea of the framework where this workshop has been designed, because Europeana Space is a big project with many branches, and we think that even if the workshop of today is on the creative reuse of cultural content in educational applications, it would be nice to understand the other parts of the project. So you will see that there are some elements that are not directly linked with education, but we feel that they can be useful for further discussion. eSpace is a network, is a best practice network as it is defined by the European Commission. It involves 29 partners from 13 countries. So it is a huge project with many different bodies, small and medium enterprises, cultural bodies, museums, libraries and archives, memory institutions, broadcasters, national cultural agencies, centers of excellence in multidisciplinary research, including universities. You can find the full list of the partners and their description on the website. The reason why I highlighted this constituency of Europeana Space is that we feel that the dialogue between these, to establish a dialogue between these bodies, these organizations, is not a simple task, and this is sometimes also a serious problem for the design of the new educational applications, because while designing a book, a school book in the past years was a rather straightforward action, because there were sequential educational programs, professional writers and publishers. So the whole organization of the process to create a school book was established, was clear for the actors in this sector. Now that we are talking about platforms, classrooms that changes, and the previous speech gave really an impression of what is happening in the educational sector, there is a strong need to establish a dialogue between people who come from different sectors, and this cannot be underestimated. We are experiencing every time that we confront ourselves in Europeana Space that the same problem addressed from different points of view is requires to be represented in different ways, and to combine everything into an educational application is even more complex. But Europeana Space doesn't work alone. It is a part of a family of projects that contribute to the achievement of a big European initiative called Europeana. May I ask how many of you know about Europeana? Okay, the majority. So I will not spend too many words on Europeana, but we have a representative of Europeana in our room. So if during the break you want to know much more about Europeana, you can refer directly to Milena. Our specific scope and objectives in Europeana Space can be summarized, aggregated in 3 points. The first is to increase and to enhance the use and reuse of digital cultural content. We have observed in the last 10-15 years a strong commitment of member states, regions, memory institutions to digitize, to produce digital representation of the cultural heritage. Now this digital content exists. The real problem is to make them accessible, but then to engage, to trigger a process through which the digital cultural content is used and reused. Reused means transformed to do something else. This looks a very trivial point. Yes, certainly we produce the digital content to use and reuse. It is not. Because when the cultural heritage moves to the digital world, there are new problems to be faced. The cultural heritage, the physical pottery, the physical statue stays in a museum. Already with the photography we open some issues. Can we go and freely take a photograph of the heritage? Certainly we have to respect the safety of the masterpiece. We cannot damage it with the flash, but this is not the only problem. The problem is that when we make copies and there is an ownership, the ownership generates rights, and when we make copies, we have to take into account the rights. So the whole problem of the rights attached to cultural heritage is multiplies when the cultural heritage goes online and goes in the digital world, because there are multiple copies of different resolution with the different associated rights and different subjects to be contacted in order to have the authorization to use it in the classrooms for applications that are educational. But if there is a company that provides a service, the company has a commercial value. So it is a very complex world. And we are discussing this in Europeana space. And we think that this applies also to the educational sector in particular. Second big aim of Europeana space, to mobilize creative people, small enterprises, to create new opportunities for job employment, because we are living in a society where our resources should create new opportunities of job. The job is transforming. It is no more the job of producing hardware. Mostly of the hardware is produced by machine. We have to invent new jobs, and the reuse and reuse, the creative exploitation of cultural heritage is a big opportunity in this sense. And the third, and here we are for this scope, is to see how these mechanisms, these opportunities are employed, are exploited, are used in the educational sector. So we wanted to trigger a virtuous circle where we start from the digitization and we go through all the phases that I mentioned before: access, user, reuse, rights, private, public partnership, etc. And what do? We do experiments, pilots, and you see here and in your folder a description of the pilots that we have done in dance, games, photography, museums, publishing, etc. We incubate new ideas in order to bring them to the market, and we work on organization of events to create opportunities of exchanges, plus some educational specific actions that will be described later on. Networking is very important for us. For this scope, we have a website which is rich, made of technical content and innovation areas. So please visit it, and you will find a lot of resources. Particularly IPR is a real core issue. There is a mini website dedicated to the educational sector, which has been mentioned by Barbara before, with access to MOOC, demonstrators, the coordinators of these demonstrators are here in this room. So if you are interested to learn more about the demonstrators, please let us know, and it will be nice to network you with the coordinators. In particular, one demonstrator is about the Cavafy poems, one is about the archaeology in Cyprus and the use of 3D, Irish folk tales, and investigation of artworks with very advanced technologies in in Estonia and here in Belgium with the coordination of iMinds. For the MOOC, we will talk later. We wanted to say that there is a strong liaison between the pilots and the educational sector. So we invite you to look at the pilots of eSpace to understand how to get resources, information, experiences from the pilots. And the event of today is the one of a program of events that we have dedicated to the educational aspects. In particular, we had the best practice education workshop in Athens in January. This second workshop, there will be a dedicated space in the final conference that will take place in Berlin in November, and we invite you all to visit Europeana Space website for further information. Thank you.